a little bit more of like the high level movement thereafter. But yeah, let's just throw the iPad up and we'll just talk about just basic stuff, right? So this is just an athlete at the gym.
So before we go on,
Go
this podcast is called Movement Basics with Colin.
Okay, yeah, I like that a lot.
Movement Basics with Colin.
I think that it's I heard this actually. I think it was this morning. I heard somebody was saying the basics are hard enough to master. Why are you trying to go and do other stuff? You know, like they're hard enough to master. You know, you work on that for a lifetime. And if you work on the basics for a lifetime, you're gonna see some cool stuff.
That's right.
For sure.
And we love the basics. So we got some feet up here.
Yeah.
Tell us about
always.
tell us the basics about the feet.
Okay, so this is just an athlete, and this is like very typical of what would come into the gym. Very typical of a high school athlete of really any sort. I think this is a direct result of shoes and just unawareness, maybe some bad cues along the way, but I think that most of what we're seeing here has to do with shoes and unawareness. And here,
and we're looking at the picture on the right.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna label the B there, that's before, and then the A here, that's after, right? So on the right, we see just this very relaxed foot, and this is the way that I like to describe the differences between the two. The person on the right, so the B before, is standing on their feet, okay? The person on the left, A, is actively using their feet to stand up. So the difference between that is obviously, like, you've got, what is it, like 33 joints in the foot, right? You've got to learn how to utilize those to your advantage. And the person on the right there is not utilizing them to the advantage. They're just almost like relaxing all of those joints, right, and just letting them just chill.
You're saying 33 joints? Is that bones or actual joints?
I'm almost positive it's joints. We can fact check it right now.
Let's get a fact check.
We're going to fact check that.
Can we get our assistant out here?
How many?
And by assistant, I mean ChatGPT.
How many joints in the, we'll say, foot and ankle?
While we're here talking to Chat, are you talking to ChatGPT?
Well, it's just Google. 33 joints.
There are 33 joints in the foot.
I'm telling you, bro. It's a lot going on down there.
33. That's a really special number. Kash Patel just said something about that. Do you know who Kash Patel is?
I don't.
He's the FBI director.
Okay.
Yeah. He likes the number 33. It's wild. So 33 in the foot.
Just right here, like from here down, like all that, like there's 33 joints on that side, 33 joints on the other side, so collectively, 66 joints. Right?
We are literally standing up on top of 66 joints.
66 joints
before you even get to your kneecaps.
Exactly, before you get to your kneecaps.
And I know that kneecap's not a joint, but
right. But like, yeah, we understand. We're professionals here. Okay, we understand.
Yeah.
But that's why a lot of what I do when I start with athletes is on the ground, as you know. So when we take the foot out of the equation, we're literally taking 33 joints out of the equation for each leg. So now you're just focused on basically one, which is the hip joint, right?
Right.
And then you've got your spine, which you can argue, is coming into play. But like mainly you're focusing on how well you can use that one joint.
Oh my goodness,
right?
This is brilliant.
But then when you start to add the foot into play, it's super complex, because how are you going to leverage your foot? How are you going to leverage all 33 of those joints? And it's like, you don't have to make it that complex for an athlete. And I would never really try to make it complex for an athlete. I'm mainly, my job is to make everything super simple and just easy for them to understand without them even having to think. Like, that's the goal. If they don't have to think and they can just move and feel, best case scenario. But as a coach or somebody that wants to know more about movement, it's important to understand, there are 33 joints down there. Respect it.
Respect that.
It's hard to use.
Right.
So treat it like it's hard. That's another conversation that I have with athletes is treat things as they are. If this is a hard activity, and I think recently this has become almost like a problem in society, is like nonchalantness. Like we do everything like it's easy, but like this is not easy. And I have to have this conversation with multiple people all the time. Like treat this like it's hard. Like,
this is work.
There's like a switch in your brain that you have to just flip. And when you flip that switch, you're like, we talked about this a second ago, but just making the decision of like, I need to figure this out.
Right.
So yeah, that's kind of a big piece of all this, is just making a decision, becoming aware, understanding how to use the body in total.
Okay, and so for everyone that was talking about, you were talking about starting on the ground, why the ground is so important. When we say starting on the ground, that's our all fours, tabletop, or we call the rocker position.
Yeah.
And so when you're based on your knee, then you no longer have to worry about these 33 joints in your foot, how it translates into your knee and then translates into your hip, because we're talking about any exercise where you're standing on your feet, walking, lunging, squatting, whatever it is. If you're on the ground in that groundwork position, that's when you can just focus on the single hip. And so mastering the hip is so crucial, because also if you don't master the hip, trying to like force all of those 33 joints in your foot to do so much work, if your hip is being all nonchalant, dude, we can't have nonchalant hips.
Can't be having nonchalant hips.
That's when they start going straight up into that banana shape, just pulling forward. Okay, about the nonchalantness and this whole thing, it's interesting you've been talking about this, because this is also circulating around my sphere, is I'm noticing that the nonchalant posture, the nonchalant hips, where everything just dumps forward, and it's like everyone knows about the head and shoulders, whatever, but that banana body position, I'm like, oh, somebody is resting literally on their connective tissue in their joints. That's how they're standing. They're putting themselves like as if you're like leaning on a wall, but they're not leaning on walls. They're leaning on the end range of their joints and connective tissue. And I'm like, we do the exact opposite. We rest in our muscles. Yeah. Which people are like, oh, that feels like work. And it's like, yeah, you're using your muscles.
Some dude, he was like, had these like videos that looked like they were filmed in like 2008 on his Instagram. And it's this dude just saying to stop sleeping in your bed.
Dude, this video.
This is something that you can find in everybody's house, in everybody's room. People, brothers and sisters, some people even have their own bed. And, you know, this is something that we all have to transcend. This is something that we all have to come back and really think about it. Is this normal? Is this the way nature intended? Well, in this video, let's dive into what this actually is. Now, such a surface doesn't exist in nature. This cushion is very soft. It doesn't engage my skeletal system. I'm basically using my flesh to support my weight, and this is not how it's supposed to be. Humans was never supposed to sleep on beds. If anything, we were supposed to sleep like this. All I'm trying to say is, humans are supposed to sleep on hard surfaces, guys. When you sleep on a cushion, what you're doing to yourself, you're putting all your weight on your flesh, on your skin, on your muscles. And you basically leave your skeleton not engaged. Now that I'm on the floor, all my weight is where? It's being in my skeleton. My skeleton is bearing my weight. And now my muscles are relaxed. There's no tension. I'm able to sleep. I'm able to let go. But if I'm on the bed, it's the complete opposite. My muscles are working while my skeleton is not even engaged. It's like my skeleton is not even there.
You know what I'm talking about? And he's like,
yeah.
When you're sleeping on the ground, you're using your skeletal system, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, he's talking about, dude, yeah, and he like totally gets it. And I love the way that he used his language about sleeping in a bed, about how it's like, I can't even remember exactly what he used, but like he was talking about like activating his skeletal system when he was sleeping on the hard ground.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep. And the reason for that is because a hard surface, when you tense up your muscles, then you become stone on stone, and that's too much pressure. So when you're lying on a hard surface or you go into a hard surface, the best thing you can do is like relax, but you can't relax completely and just turn it into jello. So you need a little bit of strength. And that's where you're saying like you use your like skeletal muscles, like your deep inner posturing system to hold yourself up. But then when you're on a bed, but it's a really cushion on like a cloud, then you have to use a little bit of your muscles to hold your posture, or else like you'll just like slump into these weird positions because the bed conforms to the skeleton instead of the skeleton conforming to the floor. So it conforms to your skeleton. So then you have to kind of like actively resist that just a little bit with your muscles. So you're using your muscles all night in a bed versus on a harder surface. You're actively relaxing your muscles.
Yeah.
Same as foam rolling. Well, if you're foam rolling, like you don't want to like tense. You want to learn how to like relax and let the pressure go through all your tissue. Sleeping on a hard surface is more ideal for the human body. That being said, if you've been sleeping in a bed your entire lifetime, that doesn't mean like go sleep on concrete.
Oh, yeah.
It's just one way to look at it is like the closer to the ground you are, the more hard it is, the more firm it is, the better it is for your physical structure. It might be more uncomfortable psychologically, whatever, but just for your physical body, it's better. And so if you have like a 14 or 15-inch cushion or like a 12-inch mattress with a 4-inch topper on it, you just add that and say, okay, I'm sleeping on 14 inches or 15 inches. Maybe in a month I'll go down to 12, and then I'll go down to 8, then I'll go down to 7. You can just wind yourself all the way down until you find a good range. I recommend anywhere from like 3 to 6 inches or 3 to like 8 inches, something like that. Just like enough cushion. You'll find the one that you really like.
Dude, I found like even for a lot of people that have back pain, I'll just tell them to like imagine having a sleepover when you're a kid and you have like this set up on the ground. Maybe there's a bunch of pillows, you know, like just make it fun. And I want you to try that for like 3 or 4 days and just
see what happens.
Yeah, just make a little sleepeover patch on the ground somewhere, and then like, you know, you can throw a bunch of blankets. Making forts again? Yeah, dude, making forts. Dude, making forts. But like just like make a little area that looks super cushiony and comfy on the ground, and then just sleep there. And try that for a few days. If you have some back pain, and see how that goes, start there. And then, you know, you can work into some other things. But like that's a really good place to start, because we know that the ground is healing for movement in general. But like if you're somebody that's interested in getting into this type of space, I think that's a really good place for you to start, is just to try sleeping on the ground or closer to the ground, like Bam's saying, just to start out.
Yeah, just start out. That, and if you do have back pain, like visualize like you have a curves on the side of your body. Like think about from your hip to your shoulder, how your waist curves in. If you lay on your side on the in the bed, the mattress pushes into the side of your rib cage in your body. So imagine like gently like pressing your ribs to the left and your spine to the left and just holding that all night. Like you're gonna feel like super stiff.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be nice. And then because it's pressing into you and you've kind of conformed to the bed, you're not inclined to like roll around or go from left to right side or like any of that. You kind of just hold one position, you get up and you're like, it's like, dude, that cloud is killing you.
Have you been to Dylan's house before?
No.
Okay, so they've got these little couches for their kids. They're called nugget couches.
Okay.
And the cushions are literally like this big, and they're like close to the ground like that, and they fold up, and like you can stack them, make forts with them and everything. I literally bought one, and I mean they're maybe half the price of a normal couch, right? So first of all,
dude, couches will cost you $20,000.
Dude, they're dumb. Like, at least like $800 to $1,000 for like
sell your couch on Facebook,
right? So it's like, but like I got this nugget couch, and it like unfolds into like a twin bed, and it's literally that thick. Right off the ground, and I just have been sleeping there.
Dude,
like I have a bed in my apartment. Funny story about that is when I got to Florida, and you know, talking to my parents, and my mom's like, "You don't have a bed?" And I'm like, "No." And she's like, "You need a bed." And I'm like, No, I don't.
No, I don't.
And then she's like, no, you need a bed. So she orders me a bed and a bed frame to my apartment. And, as a good son, I put it together and put it up there and take a picture. Yeah, I got it. Yep. And every now and then it's nice to sleep in it. But for the majority, I sleep on the nugget couch or the ground. Kind of crazy.
Well, when you start going to the ground, or like you make that like a safe thing for yourself and your nervous system and your mind, then you go back to the bed and you're like, this isn't it. Yeah. Every once in a while, it's like, it's nice, but
it's almost like I think Goggins says this a lot, but he's like, comfort is the enemy.
Yeah. No, it's real.
It's super real.
It's real. Same thing with shoes.
Yeah.
You get, dude, if you get used to those Hokas, if that's your everyday walker, have you seen, you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, dude, I see him in the gym at least 3 times a week.
Dude, those 4 or 5 inches of cushion. Like, how do you have that much cushion under you in the floor? Dude,
on his shoes, bro. What's going on? Lift kit on the shoes.
Oh my goodness. Like, if that is comfortable to you, and then like you come down to like more minimal shoes, like you get yourself some of these Rockin' Paloopas, dude, it's gonna be like, dude, you're gonna feel super weird for a while. But then once you reacclimate to something more natural, and then you go back to those clouds, dude, you're gonna be like, what is?
Oh yeah, it feels so weird. It feels like you ever seen when you were a kid those moon shoes?
Yeah,
that's what it feels like going back into something like that. Cause I have some runners, like some Asics, that like $50 for like long distance if I want to go run. But like, dude, if I put those on, it feels like I'm like super tall, like I'm wearing high heels.
Yeah, I highly wouldn't recommend unless you're pounding concrete.
Yeah.
Like you're doing miles with concrete and there's just a lot of shock going in. Otherwise, like it's super weird to watch people walk around.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look at these.
Yeah, so going back to the shoes and going back to this, right? On the right is the before again, and on the left is the after. And we see the difference in how the athlete decides to land to the ground subconsciously. So when the athlete is wearing shoes all the time and all of this starts to relax down here because it's real comfortable for the athlete, just like when you're in your bed, you get real comfortable and then you start to have these things shut off internally that aren't holding you up, those postural muscles that Bam was talking about. But like, when all of that starts to relax, we get this shape where we get this quote unquote flat foot, right? And then it's my job to come in and say, hey, have you ever thought about using your foot differently? Just posing the question to these athletes. And then eventually we get them into the posture what we showed earlier. And as we get them into that posture and turn the foot on, when they start to run on their foot, we start to see they actually start using it. Mm-hmm. And then they start feeling better. Then they start getting a little quicker. And it's not about this like huge change right away. It's about this constant, gradual need to get better. Like this yearning to want to be the best version of themselves. That's what we're looking for. Can we get these athletes to be 1% better every day? So many people preach that, the cliche stuff of like, 0.01% better or 1% better. But really, is it like, can I help them tell themselves that they want to be a better version of themselves? And then off of that, we get, I want to use my feet differently. I want to stand with my hips differently. I want to be a better version of myself standing instead of standing in this banana body shape, instead of not caring, nonchalant. Right. We're getting these nonchalant athletes out of here. We're getting them out of here.
And it's actually a mind virus, the nonchalantness.
It is.
I'm susceptible to it too. I'm sure we all have places in our life where we have sloth, but in your movement, if there is nonchalantness in your movement, we want to get rid of that.
Oh yeah,
as much as possible.
ASAP.
What's super interesting about that though is the highest level athletes sometimes are the most nonchalant people.
Oh yeah,
especially when it comes to their training.
Oh, and even like I think this is interesting. Let me see where you're going with this. Go ahead, keep going.
Well, I think we see people who are like cool and like nonchalant, and you're like, no way. Like I want to be cool, and I also want to be nonchalant. And so I understand like nonchalantness, making like going through life and not trying to make everything super hard or super difficult. And then when you see a high level athlete be nonchalant, you're like, well, it's kind of cool just to like be laid back.
Right.
The difference is though,
let's hear it.
You're not a high-level athlete.
You're not a high-level
You're not
athlete.
there.
You haven't mastered the basics.
Yeah, be
so you
nonchalant.
If
If you want to be nonchalant and you want to be a high-level athlete, first we got to be a high-level athlete or a high-level mover or a high-level person type of thing. It's really difficult. And I'm going to raise my hand as the number one person to say this. It is really difficult to become the best version of yourself and do it in a very cool, nonchalant way.
Yeah.
I run into brick walls all the time.
Yeah.
It don't work. You need a little bit of discipline. You need some fire. You need a little bit of edge to you.
You got to try.
That's right.
And like that's like the effort goes such a long ways, but I think that that nonchalantness, like let's just imagine like Messi or Ronaldo, okay? And imagine them like juggling the ball or dribbling the ball and how nonchalant they can make that look. But think about how many years of practice of just carrying the ball with them wherever they go they've done in order to get it to look nonchalant.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it's not actually nonchalant for that guy. It just looks that way because he has so much control.
Same with fighters. You see a high-level fighter fighting, and you're like, they look so relaxed. They look so loose. Mm-hmm. Oh, they're filled to the brim with adrenaline and so many chemicals, and they're like in that state. But yes, they've earned a nonchalantness, a cool factor, a flow state about their movement.
Yeah.
That because they've gone through the repetitions.
Yeah.
One thing that's really interesting about that as well, I was talking to my client, and she's like, well, my swimming coach, like my swim stroke is just like this and then like this. It's just like boom and then boom. And he wants me to like keep straight and like not do any kind of like rotation. And when you, she says, Bam, when you talk about swimming, it's like this like S kind of curve. Like it looks like this, but my swim coach, who's a Olympic level, whatever swim coach, tells me that. And I say, yes, because your swim coach is trying to get you to move like the top level swimmers. But the problem with that is he's trying to get you to look like the top level swimmers. Like just like you're trying to look relaxed or you're trying to look nonchalant. But these high level athletes, even though it looks nonchalant, like you said, is actually something very different. So even the swimmers that look straight or the runners that look like they're on this tight line, like their core's barely moving, they are doing all of their spirals, all of their torques, but they do it so tight that to the naked eye you can't really tell unless you're in slow motion. So I find that coaches are trying to make normal athletes look like high-level athletes without teaching them how to use high-level muscles and high-level activation change. So they're like, you'll try and look like the runner, but you're using a completely different fascial and connective system than the high-level athlete is doing.
Yeah, but when we see these like often different views as well of the run, we can see different things, right? So if I look at the side view, you see the straight lines, a lot of the angles. We look from the front view, and people are starting to notice that there's more of like this rotational, you know, Weck with the spinal engine, the head over foot, and this guy here, Matt Hank, is looking at it, and he's pointing out rotation around the stance leg. So he's pointing out that the body's starting to create this coil right in here around this leg. So everything's starting to rotate around that leg, and he's getting this coil on that that stance leg. Well, I think what's really cool that happens after that that you can expand upon is even more so how he comes off the block here, this next frame, right here. So when he's coiled, and then he has almost like, I like to explain this like you've got the hammer back on the gun. Right there, and then you're ready to pull the trigger. And this is that moment. Like it's like a hairline or a hair trigger, whatever you want to call it. And you're like right on the edge, and then right there you pull the trigger. And that shape, it's super interesting. You show this to somebody that, and you say, did you know that running looked like this? And they'd be like, no. I thought it looked like this, you know, the whole like robotic, like pistons. Yeah.
That doesn't look like high knees.
No, it doesn't. Right. So It's interesting to like pose that question to somebody. Did you know that this is what the highest level runners look like when they run? No, I didn't know that. That looks a lot different than I thought. Well, yeah, it's really a lot more intricate than you think. But then it goes back to, can you master the basics? Because we can do these types of movements on the ground, and we can mimic what's happening in the high level sprint on the ground through certain crawling exercises.
Right.
And we know we can find similar feelings, right? So it's really cool to be able to translate the basics into something like this.
Can we go a couple more frames, take a look at a couple more steps? Because that's him.
Yeah, I think
Usain's coming off of the blocks.
Yeah, it cuts off right there, the video does. Because he pulls up a different part of the video. I wish I had more.
And so I know you talk about that quite a bit, those double corners.
Yeah, right
that we can see in a lot of different places in athleticism. Double internal rotation, double scissors sweep, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
Corners. But it would be good to see that in a run, not coming off the blocks, because I know that somebody can look at that and be like, well, that's coming off the blocks.
Well, I mean, this is a very famous one in our community. All right, so we've got Ed Reed over here. And as he comes off the ground, let me zoom in a little bit more here. So let's go back to this. So he's in this position about right here, where he's got that gun loaded back, or that hammer loaded back on the pistol there. So I'm gonna pull Usain back. Boom, right there. That same type of position. It's relatively the same. Let me just draw the bones here. Boom, draw the bones here. Boom, nice. Pretty similar on both sides.
Yeah.
I think we could agree on that. Now we start to move Usain back into that position there, where we see this rotated out, and then the next frame we see it rotate and whip in.
Slam.
Yeah, it slams the door on it. And then you see this is a jog to a sprint, some sort of, like he's coming out of the tunnel. He's got some forward intent here. You can see that his left hand is swinging pretty far back over there. But then as he comes off the ground, you see the rotate right there while he's staying in that shape here. And you see the same thing. It's just more drastic in Usain's because it's a full effort sprint, right? If you want more power, you're gonna have that shape a little bit more. It's gonna be a little bit. How would you say it? It's gonna be evident, really evident that you can see it. However else you would say that. But we're gonna keep that shape for as long as we can, and then slowly open it up on this side. And then we're gonna go back to the other side, and you'll see that he keeps this shape here and rotates this one into it. Pretty simple.
What do you call that?
I just call it like cornering into the corner. We're just using the language that we've used for
corner into the corner.
Yeah, just I don't really have much of a name for it.
Yeah.
Other than, that's like, it'd just be like a really optimal release. Like your hips are open if you can do that.
Completely open in the backside, completely closed in the front side.
Oh yeah. Your hips are whippy if you can do that. And you can change direction pretty well if you can do that too.
Yeah.
And you can start and stop really well too. You can get low. Like there's so many benefits to being able to do that with your hips. There's multiple clips of Michael Jordan in similar positions, multiple clips of Ed Reed, same guy. I mean, you go watch him here, right? This is just a highlight clip, by the way, and like all of this is gold to watch. But like even right here in the air, finding that position,
right,
where he's got both knees in, but he's got both heels pointed away. Same thing at the end of this clip too. I think it is right in here. Yeah, this is a really cool one actually. I like looking at this one a lot and showing the athletes, but really hard into his corners there, and then just comes down and has this cool moment where I would say that probably, I don't know, I would just say a majority of the athletes in the NFL today are gonna hurt themselves in this position. So he's in this, like, he intercepts the ball and he sticks his right foot out way far, and he's in a position where things are looking grim for him, right? That does not look like where he wants to be.
Yeah, his chest and his arms.
Yeah, like his center of mass is over here, and he stuck that leg way out there, and it looks like he's about to blow that knee. And then you watch the next frame, and look what he does to that ankle.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's just like innate. He just finds that right there.
Boom.
Yeah.
What?
Right when the energy just enters the body.
Boom.
Yeah, it just turns up, and then he just comes off of it, and he's just like, he's in this crazy position here.
Yeah, can you go back and I want to frame that. What happened? So it lands on the ground, and then he does
Right
his cat claw.
Yeah.
He grabs it.
Boom.
Bootstraps activated.
Bootstrapping it.
And then he loads into that right hip until it bling.
Yeah. He's yep, loading into it, and then he's coming off of it pretty easily there, and then loading into this. This is all going up into his left hip right there. Like, that's like he's pretty far pigeon-toed with that left foot.
Yeah.
And like all that energy is going up into his left hip. That would be like similar to like when a pitcher comes over top of their front leg.
Yep.
And like all that energy was sent back up into the system. That's kind of the position he's in, because he's kind of slowing himself down with that left leg right now, really hard. And then he's going to start to pick his speed back up.
Boom.
He's going to come right back into this.
Now we went super deep into the technicals, and this was mastering the basics with Colin. And now we're already in double corner release.
Yeah,
so
we can shut that off for a sec.
Help out our what are we looking at? What are we talking about? Some of those positions, probably it might be some people's first time ever seeing athletes get into those positions. And so tell us, what are you looking at? What is it? What is that?
From a basic standpoint.
From a basic standpoint.
It's the crawl. And that's actually a lesson I had today with one of my clients in the gym was, and you understand this very well. And actually, you might be one of the first people that I've ever seen crawl for a long distance, like a baby.
Yeah.
So it was funny, the video of, you had this like aerial shot of I think you had like, I don't know if you had just gotten that back tattoo or whatever. There was like an aerial shot of you like crawling, and
yeah.
Like I remember that long time ago, but yeah, the baby crawl is the most important thing to master, because again, we can take out those 33 joints of the foot, and we can just say, okay, let's worry about them in a minute, and let's just focus on how that femur is loading that energy and then releasing it, storing it and then releasing it over and over and over again. And when you crawl for a long period of time, you're putting yourself in a position where you're using gravity to your advantage, because the femur head, it likes to sit into the socket of the hip like this, like it goes straight to the back right here,
right into the very back.
Right.
Of the almost all of it, the shoulders, the hips.
Yeah,
they love they want to be in the back side.
They like sitting back there.
They do. They like it a lot.
So like if I get on all fours, it's just the opposite of if I have my legs up like this, right? If the floor is just right here, right? It's simple. So you're putting yourself in a position where you're kind of like letting that femur head sink to the back of the hip socket. And from there, you're just turning and turning and turning and turning, and you're creating an opportunity for that joint to just kind of like clean itself up. It's almost like you've got like this sponge, and you're just like, you're going back and forth, and you're just cleaning up the back of that hip socket, because you're using gravity again to the advantage. And then you're just turning that femur head, and you're just opening the back of that hip socket, which is going to allow you to learn how to move easier. And I encourage people that are just starting, as far as the basics go, to crawl until failure. once a week, you know, for however many weeks you want to do it. You're probably going to want to continue doing it. Sometimes it gets a little tedious because it takes a while. But if you do it for about 2 or 3 weeks, once a week, you just crawl like a baby until failure. My advice is use some knee pads. Don't crawl on hot turf. You know, like don't be nonchalant about it.
Don't be nonchalant.
Don't be nonchalant.
No,
okay?
Baby crawling is tough. It's a real thing.
It is real. It is a real thing. And don't take it lightly. Just get out there, prepare, you know, make sure you have that coverage over your knees, especially if you're a beginner, and just work, just go to work, just crawl. Even if you have no idea of what it's supposed to look like or feel like, or you don't have a coach or anything, just go try it. A lot of people will like knock crawling. They'll make it like, oh, it's dumb, like it looks stupid, but like that's like, again, like I said on their podcast, that's like standing outside of the museum when the art's on the inside and saying that the art looks like shit. But then you've never even been inside and you've never tried.
Right.
You know, so
it is really hard to describe the benefits of crawling to somebody who hasn't crawled.
Man, and if you try it until failure, like at least like 15 minutes, it's interesting the feeling that you get when you stand up. It's like you're trying to figure it out. You're like, oh, I feel like almost like a little more lean forward, or I feel like my legs want to do that movement still. And then you just start to get on the path of trying to figure out the foot.
You get on it, yeah. You go, okay, now I'm on my feet. Yeah. There's a ton of benefits of crawling. One of the best benefits of crawling for a long time is being grateful to be on your feet. Realizing how incredible it is to stand on your feet and to walk with gravity, like vertical with gravity, and not be horizontal.
It's tiring.
It's a really special thing that we have the ability to walk and to run. And if you crawl for a while, like you said, till failure, when you stand up, you're going to go, and you're going to be like, I'm okay. I feel a little bit more comfortable and relaxed up here, which is huge. Oftentimes for the crawling to failure, for beginners, it's around that 5-minute mark. Intermediate, around 10-minute, and more your advanced mover around like you're going to be crawling like a baby for like 15 minutes. It's so, like, I don't know how, probably you teach people to crawl. We teach people to crawl a lot, and it's crazy to see how people have lost that neurological ability to crawl, which is the spiral lines of fascia, but also the left and the right sides talking to each other to create one forward movement. We're used to just my right arm, or just my right foot, or just my left side. And good locomotion is when we're using our rights and our lefts, and then the lefts and the rights at the same time. You're working on diagonals, and you have to know how to coordinate that, which almost breaks wait, is that my right side or is that my left? No, it's like, it's that side. It's like, it's different. It's really important, and a lot of people have lost it. And dude, the motherfucking CDC took crawling out of the development stages of human beings.
No way.
They did. They have no they have no idea
Doesn't even make sense
of what's going on. They're like, yeah, dude, it's not important. If your baby doesn't crawl, it's okay. I'm like, oh, talk to that person when they're 20 and 30 and have no idea how to run, and tell them if it's okay.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I think there's a deeper issue in that, but there's a lot of I think that's the most important stage of development, besides maybe tummy time.
Dude, yeah.
You know?
I think you want your children to spend a lot of time crawling on the ground.
Yeah, I think tummy time and crawling are probably the two most essential things for a baby to do.
You're going to get so strong.
Yeah.
And not only are you going to get so strong, you're going to carve out space for your hips. You're going to decompress your spine. You're going to open up its little wiggle.
Yep.
Your head and your shoulders are going to be like strong and the most decompressed they're going to be. Your chest is going to be able to move much easier. If you just stand up straight, that's when you get the babies and the kids that just walk around like a plank board.
Yeah.
They just do the side waddle because they don't know how to do diagonals. It's really sad.
I see a lot of people when I teach them to crawl first, like my first cue is send it.
Just go.
Just go.
Just go.
Go. Dude, I think there's a deeper thing when people are like, oh, is this right? You know, like they're seeking that external validation, whatever. We don't have to get into that. But it's so interesting when I tell people to just send it, like they start moving their right leg and their right hand at the same time.
Yep.
It's like if they were to walk and they did something like this where they like walk this side and then they walk this side. And it's like, that doesn't make any sense. Why would you walk like that? Why are you crawling like that?
Yeah.
And they get this like weird backwards feel to their crawl, and they're like, this just doesn't feel right. And I'm like, well, it doesn't look right. You know? Yeah.
That's one of the brilliant things about movement coaching is that you see that all the time. Someone's like, this doesn't feel good. That's not right. And you're like, yeah, that's not right. What you're feeling is 100% true.
Yeah.
Like you should listen to that. If it don't feel right, it's probably not right. Yeah.
Yeah, that validation from yourself, being able to listen to your body is really important. And I think that even goes back to the nonchalantness of like, I don't really care. You know, like, I don't care what this feels like. I don't care what this is like. And then that, I see that, and it's like going even further back to when you were talking about like resting on walls and like that becomes your posture. Like that, like this is just beginning to be a podcast about nonchalantness. Like that nonchalantness is literally creating that posture for you.
Right.
Like you not caring about things and like in your life is creating this nonchalant posture. But the crazy thing is that the Japanese in samurai training, Bushido, they have this mindset of creating a position of interest. So when, like, let's say they're doing homework or they're doing something that requires them to pay attention to something that's right in front of them, they have their traditional, like the samurai sit. I'm here, but then like imagine me doing homework on the ground and I'm creating a position of interest over that homework. Now, like, think about like a little kid that's obsessed with these bugs, right? He's going to get down here and he's going to be like ready to look and watch how they interact. Think about the positions of disinterest. Let me go into that.
The position.
I am no longer interested in what's in front of me. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, you're a real cool guy.
Yeah, I'm just a cool guy.
I'm just a chill guy.
Just a chill guy. You know?
This is my favorite one. I'm half interested, half not.
Yes, I go there all the time.
I'm half in, half not. Like, I'm like, are you saying that? But I'm really just chill. Yeah.
Yeah.
The grappler.
For sure. And like, if you think about it from, like, let's say when we were living in New Orleans, there was this ramen shop that I don't know, did you ever go with Josh and I? Yeah. Okay, yeah. It was a good spot.
Good spot.
And it was this, like, uncle and his nephews, and they came over from Japan, and they ran the whole thing. And one day I was sitting there with Josh, and I look over, and I see the uncle, and he's cleaning the counter, and I see him just full right there, just cleaning everything right here, just full back chain, full everything. Like, that's a position of interest. And it didn't dawn on me that that's what that was until I read that book, The Way of the Samurai. That was maybe a year ago. Right. And then like that flashback came back to me. I'm like, that's a part of like their culture. Like, they respect what's in front of them so much that it creates this posture that allows them to be more interested. And let's go back to the disinterest. If I do that so much, it's gonna lead me to a point where I'm no longer allowed to be in a position of interest. And that can be detrimental to not only your life, but maybe if you need to help somebody else as well. And for me, with my grandmother, she has a really bad right knee, and for her, she wanted to be able to get on the ground and play with her great grandkids. She needs to be able to create a position of interest on the ground to be able to play with those kids. So how are you going to master the basics of those positions of interest in order to be able to do that on a consistent basis for the rest of your life? Because once you lose those movements, it's so hard to get them back.
It's tough.
And so that's a really, really important piece to me, is just mastering those little basic skills that are going to be with you for the rest of your life. And then you have ownership over that.
Mm-hmm. That's really big, because it's difficult to describe to young athletes or people who are 30s, 40s, or even feeling good in their body, why standing in positions of disinterest, resting on your heels, hips are forward, shoulders are slumping, you're just chilling on the wall, how that could eventually translate to not having less access to positions of interest. And positions of interest are simply your athletic ready position.
Yep.
Like, think about baseball. I'm thinking about outfielders in a baseball. Like, imagine there's an outfielder just standing straight up with his hips forward, like hands at his side, or like crossing his
They won't
arms.
be playing for very long.
They won't be playing. You are like just ready to go.
Yeah.
You're in your athletic position. And translating that to saying this is everywhere in life, whether you're cleaning a countertop or doing the Mr. Miyagi wax on, wax off on a car, you are in your athletic body, because there should not be a difference between your everyday posture and your athletic body. This is what it is. The high level athletes are in their athletic body so much that they can be nonchalant in it.
Yes.
So they can be nonchalant and ready to go, just like a fighter. It's like we can relax. They have such ease of access, or maybe they're kind of in it a little bit or there. And for somebody that doesn't really have that position of interest, that athletic posture really ingrained in the nervous system, like you don't really get a lot of time to be out of it. You should not give yourself that opportunity.
Yeah, if you're not working on it on a daily basis, you don't get to chill. Like, you don't get to chill if your body looks like poo poo, you know?
Well, especially today, like if you and I had the same thing growing up, sitting in chairs in classrooms, computer games, video games, still being active, but like it wasn't like in a more of a natural setting to where your childhood was outside, running, playing sports, like not being sitting in a chair or in front of a computer or in front of a TV screen. So nowadays, you never got that from 0 to 10. That's when you're supposed to really ingrain that in your nervous system and those ages. So if you miss that and now you are 15, 16, 17, or 20, you don't really get to you can't skip that development. If you skip that development, it's going to be very difficult to be an athlete. It's going to be very difficult to either be athletic or to be an athlete for a prolonged period of time, because your body's just going to break down, because it just doesn't have it in it. There's just so much chair nonchalantness that's in your nervous system.
Dude, the nonchalantness is something that's earned. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to earn the right to be nonchalant. Of like, you've got to earn everything that you have, and you have to keep it.
Right.
And that's the most important part. It's easy to get out of pain. It's hard to stay out of pain.
That's right. Position of interest. That's a really helpful model or thing to think about in my daily life. How much time am I spending in a position of interest or athletic readiness?
Yeah.
Like this morning, I was surfing, you were training, even meditating, doing some like a movement recode at home, going on a walk with intention, a run. These are all positions where your body is very active and intentional about its interest in the moment, in the movement in the moment. And so, I can imagine there's a lot of people that can look at their daily life and be like, did I even spend time today in a position of interest?
Oh yeah, I could see that for
I was sitting on the couch. Nope, that's not a position. Sitting in a chair for the computer. Nope, that's not a position of interest. Sitting in a chair, driving, sitting at a chair, eating food. All of these are positions of disinterest or laid backness.
Yeah, because some of those tasks you probably don't even want to be doing, right?
A lot of them. Dude, a lot of time you're in front of the computer
dishes.
and like you don't necessarily want to be in front of the computer, but it's your job or whatever, and you gotta put yourself in a position of interest while you're doing something that's not interesting to you.
Imagine what you could do if you were consistently in a position of interest. Imagine how you would trick your brain into thinking, I want to do this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, even I want to do this, or like as soon as I'm done with this, I can go do X, Y, and Z sport,
For
X, Y, and Z hobby. I can go hang out with my kids on the floor. I can go outside and go on for a run, and I'm going to feel good while I do that instead of like I'm going to feel like do that.
Yeah, and you could
You know, people get out of their chair.
oh yeah.
Yo, if you do that, like you, like
you
we
should probably call us.
you should probably call. That's you getting out of your bed, especially if you are under the age of, I would say 60.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wouldn't even, you know, if you're after 16, that's already in your system. Good luck to you.
Yeah, I had a client that was 91, and yeah, it was around here, and I would go over to his house about once a week, and literally the only thing we would do was I would set some boards up, and we would just stand on the boards, and then we would just walk in a circle. I would just like, I gained a massive perspective on what he does every single day, because when you're that old, your routine isn't rooted, and there's really not much change in it.
You're not gonna old dog and learn new tricks.
So asking this dude to do something different every day was a big ask. He just liked to move around and feel good for a little bit, because he would get real tight hips, but like he would sit in the chair and watch TV all day, and I'd be like, hey, look, okay, let's just stand up and let's walk a little bit more.
Right.
And let's stand on these boards for 10 minutes, you know, and then let's walk, and then you can go back and sit down in your chair. But let's do a little bit more other than just sitting. So yeah, it's just like helping people out in the smallest little ways that you can.
Right. Especially for those elderly population, that daily walk is huge.
Oh, it's massive.
Getting on a daily walk is really good. I spent time on the ambulance, and when I did have someone that was 80 plus years old and they were doing good, I always asked them, like, tell me about your lifestyle. Like, what do you do? Almost all of them would say, I go on a walk every single day. I'm like, do you exercise? Do you like, what do you do for like, what? They're like, I just go on a walk. Every day I go on a walk. That being said, if you have never done daily walks, I really encourage it. It's like doing a baby crawl. You're like, oh, it's just walking. Like, no, go on a 1 mile walk, 2 mile walk every single day, and you're like, oh, this is actually like a lot of work.
You remember when we used to go walk with Gil all the time?
All the time.
Just on the levee.
Dude.
We just 5-6 miles. And I remember I'd be like, yo, Gil, you trying to turn around yet?
Yeah.
It's like, no, bro, we could keep going.
Sun's going down.
Sun's going down.
So a couple things. We're talking about arch collapse. Some people call it pronation. And when we're looking in slow motion video, what we're looking at, let's say from this frame, we're looking at my right foot, and specifically about this ankle bone and that outside ankle bone. And you could even see kind of the level of the ankles by drawing like from the shoe. Like look at the shoe angle. Boom. Okay, so as we go frame by frame, it's still arch, big arch. Yeah, let's just watch it. Boom. And it goes
down a little bit.
Boom. Right there, and then it climbs out.
Yep.
Okay. I'll do that a few more times for people to see. Boom.
Yep.
Okay, so here's the landing. Boom. And boom.
Okay.
Okay, we go to the second Athlete here, same thing. These are some of the shoes. These are basketball shoes, or
yeah, dude. This is
so we go from
Brody. Come on, Brody, do better.
Brody. Boom, here. Not too much at all.
Not too much. Left leg looks real good.
Yeah.
Check right leg one more time.
Check right.
A little bit right leg. A little bit.
Just like super tiny.
Yeah, super tiny. Pretty good though. He's moving pretty well. That left side looks pretty good. I like that.
Like it's from here to there is where we see just the tiniest little bit of dropping.
Yeah.
On the inside.
Yeah, that pressure is coming in.
And then we go to this last athlete. Tight. Boom. Lands. Clearly there is a difference between the ankle bones. This one's higher, this one's there. Okay, that's our angle. Let's watch it.
A little bit of pressure on the inside there.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's watch how his foot comes down to the ground. Let's watch that for a second.
All right, here it comes.
So it looks like he's just coming straight down.
Straight down.
Okay.
Yeah, he does straight.
Let's watch his right foot.
Boom, climbs out of it. Here's the right foot coming down. Land. Little bit right there.
Yeah, a little bit.
And when we're looking at, look at this pocket. Mm-hmm. See how that pocket is recessed right now? And then boom, now we got a bulging pocket.
Yeah.
What's really interesting about this, two things, then I want to let you go. I'll even give the iPad if you want. Is everything on this video is synchronized to a T. And with all three of these feet, you see that little bit of that pressure coming to the inside. So we go, boom, it's right here. Up. And then down. Boom.
Yeah, I think, so one thing to remember here.
Well, let me finish.
Yeah, you got it.
All right, so that's what we're looking at. So one school of thought is there should be no collapse at all. The foot should be maintained. And then on the other side of school of thought, people say pronation is supposed to happen, etc. I've got my own complete thoughts on this. The last piece that I want to talk about that people aren't looking at is the rotational aspect. So foot is landed, knees pointed straight, and then as we go into it, as that looks like it's happening, the kneecap goes from this position to it's opening up. Now it's here. So I think there's also a difference between when we should just be looking at the whole picture of the leg. Okay, when that's happening, is it remaining straight? Is the kneecap opening, etc.? So because what can look like pronation can actually be the heel coming down and then scooping in. With some pressure coming to the inside, but it's not collapsing to the inside. It's more of just that rotary, like screwing action in, etc. But it's a huge topic of debate. And people say pronation, it's supposed to happen. It's not supposed to happen. We had this cool video with 3 athletes doing just a little ring on it. So give us your thoughts.
Yeah, I go back to that video that you have of you're talking about like, oh, we use professional language.
Oh yeah,
and we got a little bit of rate.
And we just got a little rate.
We got a little bit of that,
yeah.
But yeah, I think this is gonna more solidify what you're elaborating on, especially when on this clip on the left side here, because it is also uphill. So when we're moving uphill and we have this idea of rotation and we're rotating into a leg, we are going to leverage the hill to a certain standpoint. So you're going to start to match the angle of the hill at a certain point. because it's no longer flat ground, and you have this ability to like leverage gravity in a different way because the surface is angled. So just showing this clip here, the athlete here, as we look at this foot here, we're rotating and turning a whole bunch to leverage the hill. And from there, we can then whip off of that hill.
Right.
And so I think that piece right there.
That piece, that's the one I'm talking about.
That swivel right there.
That
is kind
swivel.
of what you're looking for.
Right.
And a lot of times from the back, it can kind of look like we're collapsing real hard.
But from the front, this is a great video because you can see that the swivel and the kneecap are moving at the same rate. They're completely synchronizing.
Yeah.
And that's a huge point when it comes to like the pronation thing. If the leg, if the entire leg isn't moving, but then the foot collapses and that quote unquote pronation happens,
dangerous.
Or the entire body is opening, let's say to the right, and then the collapse happens, and then the knee goes to the left in the landing time.
Yeah.
This is when it's a no bueno. So it's a little bit nuanced in the deep dive, but it's important to look at
yeah, I mean, if I
this swivel action technology.
Yeah, exactly. If we saw this position and then everything here in this foot started to just dive down in randomly, that would be a big problem. But what we see is as we move forward, like you can see both athletes have that swivel going on.
Right.
And it's around this like central point.
Do you have the landing for the athlete on the right? Does it show that landing?
Oh, right there.
On the right side landing?
Like this, right? I mean, you talking about this step right here?
Yeah, the step. Does it show it before it steps on the ground?
No, just there.
Yeah.
And then bang, and then go. But yeah, nice. Just finding that swivel, and then you see the kid on the right side where he's making this like turn around. Looks like some sort of like pylon or like boxing bag that he's going around for football, like a drill.
Right.
And you can just see that he's also making that similar type of turn into that side and then whipping it back over to the other side.
Crazy.
Yeah, really, really
dude,
good.
I love that position. The one you're hitting on the right is like, that's one of the coolest positions visually to me.
Over which side here?
Your right leg. Your right side.
Oh.
Like both like I see both femurs like shotgun like into that right side.
Yeah. And like, yeah, it's definitely, it takes a while to kind of feel that. But I think that's kind of what we're looking at a little bit on that previous video. But what I will say is if you watch the way the foot comes and hits the ground here, watch how the foot is coming at the ground. It's literally moving that way. So when we do that, especially when we're on a hill, we're able to start to leverage the outside like torsion instead of leveraging the inside torsion. So the reason why I asked about Tyler's foot and how it was coming down is because he likes to come straight down. Straight down. And that gives an opportunity to leverage more of the inside torsion, which can be problematic.
How so?
Let's say, like you were saying, if the whole body is trying to load into our right leg and I'm coming down on it and my chest is rotating that way, my head's getting over that right foot, and then all of a sudden when I come down on it, my ankle is too weak, that internal support of that ankle is too weak, and it starts to rotate in, or even if it just starts to rotate as a means to move forward, if it does it too soon, as everything else, the knee, the femur, the chest, all of it is rotating to the right, then you have this conflicting, almost opposing forces where
definitely
the ankle's trying to move too soon to the other side while the rest of the body's trying to open and go to the right.
Right.
So yeah, that can be problematic, but you're just trying to find that, trying to leverage the outside of the foot. And if you can find a way to put yourself in a position that sets you up for success in order to leverage the outside of the foot, you're going to be much better off.
Right.
But if you're putting yourself in a position where your foot's going inwards on your landing, like you're bringing your foot out and around and then it comes in, then you're putting yourself up, setting yourself up for an opportunity to leverage the inside of the foot.
Yeah.
Which might not be the best case.
No. Dude, really interesting because you brought up two movements in slow motion today that go against really common track athletic strength conditioning training. The first one is knee drive. That knee coming up, just that knee coming straight up. When we're seeing some of the highest level athletes, we saw Ed Reed and Usain Bolt hitting that double corner position.
Yeah.
And so a knee straight up is going not in that direction at all. The hips are coming forward. The hips are pushing to the front so you can get that knee up. You start curling that tail starts to curl forward. So that's the first one, is that knee drive. People aren't training that double corner system. They're doing a ton of knee drive, thinking that it's just like this up and down piston thing. And the second thing that they're doing is ground force. You need to put a ton of force into the ground. And so we think the way to put a ton of force into the ground is just going straight down to the ground. And so people are training that. Just stomp your foot straight into the ground and then drive your knee straight up. Like, right. Boom, like, boom,
yeah.
boom, boom. You're not, that's actually not happening.
No, it's not.
And so it's interesting. You can see in athletes who've been training that.
Yeah.
And then athletes who either naturally do it or have been trained to understand how to create proper torsion, how to synchronize the body, how to whip it, how to use all of this wildness. So those are two things that you kind of just stomped on, brother.
Stomped
on. Do you think there's any use in training high knee drive and straight piston energy force production straight down into the ground?
I think that there is a place for being violent. And what I mean by that is, so like the violence of knee drive and force production into the ground force production, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
There is a time to train that. But let's go back to the beginning. The basics are so hard to master. Why are you even going there? Right? Like if you don't even understand how to use the foot to its full extent, then what's the purpose of trying to do that so much? Right? So
if you don't know how to use your foot to the full extent, or even let's say adequately well,
yeah,
why are we trying to slam it into the ground to create as much force through it?
Because how is it supposed to slam into the ground?
That's a great question.
That's where we want to start. How is my foot supposed to absorb that energy?
Right.
Because I want to use that energy.
Mm-hmm.
So how am I going to store it into my foot?
Yeah, but that's just too much thinking.
It is.
Listen, we got tendons. We got Achilles tendon just to figure that out. I just need to just stomp my foot into the ground and just go.
And for some people, it works out because some people just innately just get it.
Innately, or, you know, they got the genetic card. They had parents that moved pretty well.
Yeah, and the whole monkey see, monkey do, you know, their parents moved well and they were like, oh, I want to move like dad because dad survived, so right. I'm going to figure that out.
A lot of people, though, do not have good innate movement.
Yeah.
And the more that we, generation to generation, go deeper into technology and sedentary lifestyle, it's going to get worse.
Yeah. I mean, that's the reason why we've definitely had an uprise of, amongst other things like obesity, but a uprise of knee replacements, hip replacements, just surgeries in the lower half of the body in general, we've seen, you know, skyrocket in the past 10 to 20 years.
Huge numbers.
Of course, obesity is a problem, but I also know people that are overweight that move well and they feel just fine. And so it's definitely a combination of things.
Let's take a. We want to take a look at these numbers.
We can take a look at the numbers.
Listen, these numbers,
like data.
just for all, you know, honesty, whatever. These are numbers generated by ChatGPT. I have looked at them in the past before, but if you want to do your own research, please be my guest. But there's an underlying theme around this that's really important for just to take a look at this. Most of the numbers we have, by the way, are from like around 1990. All right, this is plantar fasciitis. This is 1990 to 2024. Okay. So we're looking at 34 years. Plantar fasciitis is up 25%. Youth injuries are up 111%.
Oh, this is all like every percentage here is up.
Every percentage is up. Orthopedic surgeries, youth injuries are up 111%. Orthopedic surgeries are up 300%. Chronic pain is up 50%. Low back pain 62%. Here's orthopedic injury trends in youth since 1990, and we're looking at the baseline index of 100 million in 1990 to getting close to 2015. We're getting up to 225 million. Just for those are our youth athletes.
That's a lot of people getting hurt.
In 35 years, we've gotten an extra 125 plus orthopedic injuries in the youth.
35. That's
what
like
happened in 35 years?
Yearly stat.
Oh yeah, it's just going up and up. Orthopedic surgery since 1990. Spinal fusion had a 5-fold increase in 2 decades.
And so part of me wants to ask the question of, when did these surgeries become an option?
Oh, that'd be a great. When did they become an option?
Because let's say that they became an option let's say spinal fusion became an option in 2001. You're right. You're going to see,
right,
which I'm sure it was way earlier than that.
Right.
But it almost gets to the point of like, and I should be careful what I say about surgeons wanting money from their clients.
They want money.
They want money.
It's not a trick. Most surgeons or most hospitals are for-profit companies.
Yes, they have to be. So it's just a business. This is America. It's
right.
a business.
So like it's not a thing to say like that they want money. Like they need to operate their business, so they need customers. And they need people. They need insurance to pay them.
It is.
It's just how it is.
It's advantageous for them to convince you to get surgery.
It's advantageous, and let's say from the most compassionate, understanding standpoint, right, it's advantageous because look, we can just take care of this right here for you.
Yeah.
The chances that you're going to make a holistic change for your body to actually get rid of this, very small.
And that's honestly a fair thing for a surgeon to say. That there is the chances that you're willing to do this, that's fair for a surgeon to say, but that's where you have to make an internal decision to be like, nah, I'm better than that. I don't need this. I can go somewhere else and figure this out on my own.
Right.
And I don't think that a lot of people feel like they have the power to do that.
No, they don't. And they don't recognize that they have the power.
Yeah.
I had this experience when I was working on an ambulance. The ambulance company that I was working for was a private for-profit company that would contract out to the different counties and then run with fire department. This ambulance company is one of the largest in the U.S., and it's a for-profit company. And so a lot of the conversations around this were, if you get called 911 to somebody's house, you better transport somebody. Number one, you better get that money. And there was 2 reasons for that. Number one is for the money, because if we transport somebody, even if you just transport someone to the hospital, $1,500 or whatever it is,
it's pretty expensive,
that they're going to be paying with their insurance or out of pocket. It's going to be a lot of money just transporting somebody. The second thing is, when you do that, when you transport somebody, you immediately take the burden of responsibility of their life out of your hands and you put it onto the hospital. And so surgeons kind of do the opposite. They say, hey, the burden of you just having a spine and having a body, it's just too much. Let's call your insurance up. We'll get you in here. I'm going to get you on some ketamine. I'll cut you open a little bit. Listen, you don't need to move that spine. Let me just fuse it a little bit. Or let me just go in there and scope it out a little bit. Okay, scopes are kind of cool. But the general surgery thing of, let's just replace that knee.
Yeah.
Let's just replace that hip. It's getting out of hand.
It's out of control.
It's out of control.
Dude, these people are definitely, they're making a lot of money off of, and I'll say this. There are some people that have went through with these, let's say, putting rods in their spine, right? Putting them right off and locking it in place. There are some people that feel way better. But are they ever going to have the ability to use that part of their body again? No. They just won't. Do you know for a fact that you're going to feel great when you're 50 years old? You don't know that.
Well, spinal, like back surgeries, are like the success rate of them, it's not even like close to 80%.
Right.
Or close to 70%.
Exactly.
And you're probably going to have to get more surgeries later on in your life. Like once you enter that world, it's really hard to get out, and it's kind of just like kind of sucks you in.
Yeah, and it's a repetitive process that is going to take you from the surgeon's table to the to CVS to grab your prescription.
That's right.
Know? And you're just going to keep going back and forth. And it's our job to show people there's another way, and the other way is to master the basics and going back to it. But I think let's say this. We're going back to if you don't know this and you want to try and you want to get started, sleep on the ground, crawl, learn how to stand up and get back down on the ground really well.
Really good.
That's honestly, in the gym, we have a recovery class, and half of that recovery class is teaching athletes how to get up and down from the ground over and 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 over, just like we did the other day in the gym. Start with a little bit of like hip warm up, and then we get into how are we getting onto our feet, and we're in some sort of deep squat, and how are we going to get up from that deep squat? How are we getting back down? How are we going all the way to the ground? Just like consistently repping that out over time.
Mm-hmm.
And so then getting up and down from the ground becomes second nature. And then next thing you know it, you're 93 playing with your great grandkids.
That's where you want to be.
Oh yeah. I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last thing I'll say about these numbers that we looked at. We looked at surgery rates, back pain rates. Back pain is actually the number one reason that humans are handicapped globally. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Low back pain.
That's rough.
Yeah, and it's not like, and with a lot of the low back pain, they just say general low back pain or like non-specific low back pain.
Because they don't know.
Anatomically, there's nothing that we can point to that says this is why you have back pain. Maybe it's a bulging disc, but hey, what do you know? 70% of humans have a bulging disc somewhere.
You're just 35. That's what happens.
You're just 35. You got this non-specific low back pain that we can't name. We don't know why it's here.
Non-specific low back pain.
And it happens to be the number one reason that humans globally are handicapped for 1 year or more.
Wow.
And that trend is going from 1997, 378 million peoples. Which is like close to the population of how many people are in the U.S.? Like 300, like close to like.
I don't pay attention to
that. Let me just look at.
I'm like, counting the waves out here.
You can pull your phone. Like, how many people are in the U.S.? I think it's like 330 million.
How many people in the U.S.?
Are we in the billions?
No, 342.4 million.
Okay, I was right.
To U.S. Census.
About 342 million people.
That's as of September 8th, 2025.
In 1990, there was 378 million people worldwide that experienced general low back pain.
Wait. In 1990, there was 378 million worldwide. Okay.
I mean,
I got you.
I mean, how relevant are these studies? Do we go to every single person in the jungle, and in the caves, and in the Arctic?
Right.
No, but the same study conducted, but this is the Global Burden of Disease study in 2025 jumped up to 629 million. Doubled.
Yeah.
So the global low back pain doubled, and it's more prevalent in cultures with higher socioeconomic status, like the U.S., Sweden, UK, etc.
Okay.
The higher your socioeconomic status is in the world, the more well off you are, the more prevalence of low back pain there is, which is absolutely wild.
Yeah.
So low back pain, surgeries, and then youth injuries. What's interesting is about all three of these, there's excuses that people have or reasonings that people have for each one of them. For instance, you brought up one, surgeries. Okay, well, when were surgeries made?
Yeah.
Pretty not that long ago. It's like a new thing. And don't you think we have better technology and better access to more healthcare? And so wouldn't there be a natural increase in that? It's like, okay, that's like one thing you can look at that can be a factor. And then the second one is youth sports. People are like, well, kids aren't doing it and just playing outside anymore. They're doing soccer, and they're only doing soccer. So the increase in sports-specific training is increasing in our injury rates. And so that's what they'll say about youth injury rates. And with the low back pain thing, I don't know what people are saying about the low back thing. We're making more statistical studies or whatever they say. But if you look at all of the numbers, the amount of people that are having low back pain, the amount of people, the youths that are increasing in injuries, the amount of surgeries that are happening, and then you say, wait a minute, all of that is increasing. Over 35 years, there's been this drastic increase in all of those numbers. What about the increase in physical therapists? Oh, it's just been just as big. What about the increase in chiropractors? It's been like 2 or 3 times as many chiropractors, massage therapists, fitness centers, just gyms around the world. Right now, today, there are the most amount of physical therapists, chiropractors, massage therapists, osteo people, physiotherapists, gyms, personal trainers than there has been ever in the human history.
Yes.
And we have the highest amount of surgeries, chronic low back pain, and youth sports injuries. Like, what the hell is going on?
Plus the best technology.
Right. And so you can have a small, like, okay, well, what about technology? What about, plus the best technology.
Yeah.
Plus the best information.
Yeah.
So when you look at all of the information, you're like, okay, I know exactly where this is going. Last picture. I know exactly where this is going.
I know what that is.
Yo. Striker. My ambulance, I used to have a Striker gurney.
Yes.
It was actually a good gurney. It wasn't the ones that you like had like to
Good
manually lift.
equipment.
You pressed a button and it goes zzz,
Yeah.
Then you could put it to your ambulance, you press a button and it'll self-load into the ambulance.
Yeah.
Which is probably a good thing. This is Striker. Their stock's going up.
They're doing well.
They're doing well.
Probably a good idea to invest.
For sure. Maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've both been on the same page about this for a long time. I think it's really just about getting this to be opened up to the world, and people can see for themselves that, hey, maybe the money and the technology and the skill specific training, maybe that's not where I want my attention to be. Maybe I want to master myself first, and then I can get into this other stuff. And that's kind of that's the route I took personally. I was like, okay, because I was in pain at 16, 17 years old, real bad. And so finding the route of, can I get out of pain on my own? Can I master my own body? And then can I get into making money? Then can I get into maybe skill-specific training for a sport if I want to? Recently, just started jiu-jitsu. Just started playing soccer, right? I think that now my understanding of those things is tenfold now that I've taken the time to master my body, instead of going into the alternative route that I had was go to the hospital.
Go to the hospital.
And that wasn't cutting it. They didn't figure it out.
If you go to the hospital, more than likely, they're going to give you perks.
Yeah.
And they're going to pull out some knives to cut you open.
Yeah, okay. All right. It's not a horror story, okay? But it is.
That's what they do to hospitals. They love Percocet. They love OxyContin.
They do. But let me tell you this. It is uncomfortable for me to be in a doctor's office. Like,
dude, for everybody.
At this point,
there's blinding white lights, there's weird music on, and there's people talking to you like you're a child.
It's like, yes, it's like fully enclosed. I mean, I had some I had like water trapped in my ear for like I was like 2 or 3 weeks, and I was like, okay, this is a problem. I gotta go see somebody, see if they can like flush it out or whatever. And so I went, and like it felt, a lot of the things that they were doing just felt so unnecessary. I was just like, yeah, I got this problem in my ear. Check it out real quick. They were like taking my vitals. They were doing all this and like asking me all these questions. I'm like, no, like just look in my ear, and then we'll figure that out. Right. Like, let's focus on the problem here. And it just took like an hour for them to like figure out like, oh, we should probably flush it out with like this system. And I was like, okay, we'll flush it out. And we did that, and it was all good. But like, it's just like the discomfort that I had going there and sitting in the office for an excessive amount of time for no reason. Just looking at things that didn't even matter, trying to find a problem. Right. Trying to get me to, oh, hey, you might need to come back in 2 weeks if you're still feeling that pain. Okay, all right. But yeah, I think a lot of people, it's just the route is hospital if I'm in pain because I don't really know what else to do. Well, arm yourself with some information. Check out Primal Movement. Check out Gateway Max. You know, go mess around in the space and see what you can find that can help you. And if you can't find anything that helps you here, go somewhere else and find something. You know, keep searching. Keep searching. Just keep going until you find something that helps you. And because there's never going to be somebody that can fix every single problem ever known to man, right? Somebody's going to have something going on with them that's going to be a complete anomaly, and somebody else is going to figure it out. And then you're going to have to go find that person. Right. It's like, luckily I was very fortunate to meet Gil because he had a lot of the back issues that I had. And it was very good for me to converse with him and say, you know, hey, this is what's going on. Oh, I felt that before. Yeah. You know, find somebody that's felt some of the similar things that you felt or are feeling and see how they got rid of the issue and just go from there. It's pretty simple, you know, like success leaves clues. Why not follow it?
I love it. That's greatness.
Greatness.
If you are in pain or if you just want to learn how to master the basics of your body, do highly encourage checking out Gateway Max, or you can find Colin on Instagram at Recoded by Colin.
Yes, sir.
You can reach out to me on Instagram at bam.lion and Primal Movement on YouTube, primalmovement.org on the website. Listen, natural movement and understanding the physical body, understanding how to be a person of interest is something that you can learn. And I'm very sorry that if you're someone who was grown up and the environment that you grew up in was just chairs and nonchalantness, but you can learn it. It might take a little bit of time, might take a couple of years, but once you got it, listen, once you got it, you got it.
There's like nothing else, dude.
You got it.
And then you also have the freedom to be nonchalant.
Super nonchalant.
You can be, and like that's, I've noticed, just one last thing, I've noticed that like my walk, like Gabriel asked me, you know, man, how do you walk? Man, I'll just be walking. You know, I'll just be lazy with my walk. My walk is super nonchalant, but it's because I understand where the pressure is going. Right. I'm very precisely putting the pressure so I can be very lazy with my effort. Yep. Because I've got the precision, you know?
My walk is slow.
Yeah, slow.
I'm going to take my time.
Yep.
I ain't got no rush. I'm not trying to rush from left to right to left or anything like that. Okay, just to end today, I forgot to do this, but this will be a great place to end. This is from the Book of Five Rings by Miyamoto Musashi.
Legend.
And this is a passage on use of the feet. Look at this is one of the most renowned samurai. What I care about is try not to look at the technicals or whatever, but just realize this is in the 1500 whatever it was, the most renowned samurai talking specifically about the feet. This is a passage where he's talking about the eyes, he's talking about the facial structure, he's talking about the stomach. This dude's way that he organized himself was so, he was mastering the basics.
If you want to get good at anything, go study the samurai.
Go study them. Use of the feet. In the carriage of the feet, you should float your toenails a little and step strongly with your heels. In use of the feet, you should walk as usual, whether the case calls for large, small, quick, or slow strides. Meaning, like, you want a consistent gait pattern. That's really cool. Feet that seem to fly, float, or be immobile are all three undesirable. Flying, floating, or immobile feet. That was like when we first looked at in that first chapter. This one's really my favorite part. There is something important in this way called the yin-yang foot, and it is considered essential. The yin-yang foot means never moving just one foot. With yin-yang, you step right and left and right. Whether striking, pulling back, or parrying a blow, I repeat, you should never step with just one foot. You should investigate this thoroughly.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I can visualize personally what that would mean to me. I think that there's probably been a lot of interpretations of what that means.
Right.
And for me, I see, like, how is my right foot affecting my left? How is, when I'm coming off the ground with my right foot, how is it going to affect the way that my left foot lands?
Right.
Like, I have this intention that I'm not just using one, I'm using both. I'm using the whole body to my advantage so it can work together.
My favorite part about the Musashi style is that he gives you it like so very simple and very detailed, but then he says you should study this thoroughly.
Yes.
Which is what our vibe is, you know, like, look, we're going to look at the ankles. We'll say about the position, the shape, the energy, the torsion, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, you should study this thoroughly.
Yeah.
You can listen to us talk all day about a position of interest or what does it mean to own and master your athletic position. But the only way you're going to really know about it is if you study it thoroughly. And the only way to study the physical body is by doing.
Positions of interest. Do more.
You cannot study the physical body in a textbook.
No.
You can learn about human bodies, but to learn about your own body, you have to move and you have to be present. You have to study it thoroughly through action, through presence, through moving with intention, or, like you said, moving with interest or curiosity.
Yeah, nothing stops curiosity. Nothing stops. That's a Curious George quote.
Nothing stops curiosity. Yeah, I'm just curious.
Yeah, I'm just curious.
Let's go.
One sec.
Anyways, brother, it's been great. Thank you so much for coming back on the show.
Yes, sir.
Looking forward to more training and more hanging out time with you. We'll see you all in the next one.
Big time. No man now. Diamonds in my teeth, I got a lot of shine. Running up the number, that's a lot of crime.